Please insert drink and hit play. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You have John Daniels here. Thank you for tuning in to BlueRayDismay. Today we are doing Train to Busan, and I have my two counterparts with me.
The Right Honorable Javier Ian Marcellus Ignatius II, Esquire.
Jimmy!
And Bruno Diaz, a.k.a. Johnny C., a.k.a. Johnny Zombie Walker.
Johnny Zombie Walker, Bruno Diaz, yes. I believe the original title of the film was going to be Train to Wuhan. Yes.
Hey!
Yes, that was a joke.
Racism incoming.
No, that
To
was
wound.
a joke. That was called a joke. A
Your-
jokey joke.
Your attention, passengers.
Oh, wait, I'm a millennial, so I'm going to be offended at myself because I can't make a joke about anything funny anymore.
Cancel culture.
Cancel
You just
culture.
got us canceled.
All
Good
right.
job.
All right, guys. When did this
Next stop
flick,
Willoughby.
Next stop Willoughby, Twilight Zone reference. When did this flick come out? Was it a few? I had never heard of it until you guys told me, but it was
2016.
a pretty cool flick. It was actually
Train to Busan, 2016, 118 minutes, 0.53 her.
it was long as a mofo. I'll tell you that. I thought it was
2
an hour and a
hours.
half, but it was a full, fledged 2 hours.
That's good. You need that last half hour for them at spoilers incoming. The next stop will be
Yeah, full
spoilers.
fifth of.
Oh yeah, fifth of spoiler alert.
We're doing
on
a whole
Train to
round
Wuhan.
around the trolley.
Yes.
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 Changing tracks.
All
Changing
stops
tracks.
included.
Well.
Yeah. But yeah, directed by Sang Ho Young. And that's all I know about him, honestly. I don't know a whole lot about Korean
Did you
cinema.
call me a hoe? A young hoe?
No,
How dare you, JVR? That's racist.
he's just
Yes.
shoot the
Well,
racist.
I don't know much about him either. He's just a prominent Korean film director since the early 2000s, I guess, doing short films and such. And then coming up after what I just found out is that there is I think a sequel coming out to this one. He's a director and screenwriter called Peninsula, slated for 2020. Which who knows when that'll be coming out? Probably 2021 now, based on everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But
production slowdowns.
yeah. So way more interested in that now that I've seen this movie, and it's the same director and writer, so that would be cool. That's just
Right.
based on the aftermath 4 years after this movie, and I think it has some of the same characters. I'm still
That's
Figuring that
racist.
Well,
That's
there were
racist.
2, maybe 3 survivors, depending on where you're from.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there were
Yeah,
2
one
or
of
3
them
actors
is,
that just kept being recycled.
What?
No, the main character.
Say what?
Is supposed well,
Say
full
who?
spoilers ahead. The main character is supposed to be in the next one, which I can only assume will be like a flashback sequence.
That's also
But
racist
I think that
because he died.
yeah.
He dead.
He'd be
He
dead,
dead, yo.
son. I blasted him.
Wait, yeah, that's his Korean name, right? He dead, son.
Hey.
Yes. Okay. So, the way the movie started, it got right into it, which was pretty cool. I mean, the premise is set up from the get go. The little girl is like, "Hey, you bastard dad, you work for this crazy
He's
Wall
a
Street firm."
Bad dad.
Yeah, bad dad.
Yeah,
You
classic
work for some
bad
trading
business dad,
firm.
no
You never have
time,
time for
you
us.
know,
The
like
mom
the
is bitching
Pooh-
at the
like
dad.
Winnie the Pooh dad, you know.
Yeah, the mom's bitching at the dad, and
God forbid he go on vacation.
he can't go on vacation because he works so much. And he even
Yeah.
got her a gaming system, a Wii that he had already gotten her like for whatever
Children's
some other
Day, yeah.
some other day.
Yeah, some other thing.
Right,
Yeah, I got
and
him.
he was like,
Same
"Oh
thing.
crap!"
And that's out of date too, considering the time period. It would have been like, well, I guess it would have been a Wii U or
It might
something
have been a
like
Wii,
that. Yeah, I
Wii
mean,
U,
yeah,
Wii,
and
who
it's
knows?
another country, so they get shit different times. So
I just want
So,
to say, speaking of the opening, that was the creepiest deer I've ever seen.
dude, the deer that like woke back up after it got ran over.
Oh,
And
the
I've
CG
killed
deer?
and
Yeah, yeah.
I've killed and eaten a 10-point buck, and it was delicious. But that was the creepiest deer I've ever seen.
well, yeah, the
Dude,
CG was
CGIs.
pretty weird.
CG eyes on the eyes of the deer.
But
Keep your eyes on the prize.
I like that opening sequence because it tells you right away what the movie is like about.
I thought it was about to
You
be
never even heard
a
about it or
zombie deer
anything.
movie,
That would be fun. Yeah.
like mad
Like
cow
Bambi?
disease. I was like, oh no,
Like-
the deer
like-
are gonna be mad.
How is the poor
Zombievers?
Bambi
Yeah.
zombie deer gonna survive?
Bambi
against
versus
hunters?
mad cow.
Bambi zombie versus hunters.
Bambi.
Actually,
No, it's
They're-
No, it'd be Bambi versus wasted
Bambi
disease.
versus the bats from Wuhan because
Real
they're on their way to
problem.
Wuhan. Yeah.
yeah. The weird side note: there's actually a real life disease that are in deers that are like it's almost like a zombie disease or something where they're like
Yeah.
not.
I've seen
not
those
a
videos,
zombie.
dude. They're freaky. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
walk
where
up to a
they get-
deer.
And it's like a weird like zombie type deer or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's a real thing that's happening, and the hunters are worried about it. But I mean, that's a whole other different crazy topic that you can look up on your own. But it reminded me of that.
You've been assigned
The
homework,
opening.
audience.
Yes. Keep in
yeah,
mind the next deer you shoot.
Yeah, it might have. You got to check out some weird zombies like deer disease or
Yeah.
something. Look it up; it's crazy.
Yeah,
But that's what it
wasting
reminded me of
disease.
when I first saw this movie. I was like, "Whoa,
Bad mojo, man.
Mhm.
But
don't eat
yeah.
dad's ear."
Well, so yeah, it does pack a lot of storytelling into its length, so that's a good thing. I like us. Nice and
Speaking of
economical.
length, it was long as a mofo.
It kind
Was
of
it?
drags on a little bit. Yeah,
Does it? Didn't feel that long.
It was a
they
bit
lay
long,
the
dude.
they lay the dramatic stuff on pretty thick.
Well, it's Korean cinema. I think got to be dramatic.
Yeah,
I think they have they definitely stayed in tune with the familial aspect of it.
Right.
I mean, there was family
Oh, yeah,
subplots throughout the entire film from start to finish.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a lot of the theme is just family, and then what the lengths that you go to save your family or whatever, and kind of weird parallel to Parasite, which was also another Korean film that recently just came out. Way after this, but kind of the same theme was like is family. Is the lengths you go to protect
So you're
and
saying,
be with your family.
that.
But I mean, that's essential. Like that's like the bare bones of like any storytelling, like structure.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to make it
We just happen
relatable
to-
to anybody is make it be about a father and son, which anybody can relate to.
Right.
Which is
Father-daughter,
is- yeah.
Yes, that was a
Standard
daughter in the
storytelling.
flick. Johnny Bruno Walker Diaz.
But I mean, yeah, and then the dramatic part has definitely hit me pretty like hard when where they lay it on thick, with just like everybody's got to lose somebody because of the zombie apocalypse, and that you got to deal with it.
So what I learned from this movie is do not mess with old Korean ladies or kill their sisters because they will go Joker on you.
Yo,
Yeah.
that old Korean lady was not messing
I thought-
around.
Dude, I thought she was gonna like just leave with the group, but she was like, nah.
Now I'm
like,
taking you with me.
She's like, fuck that.
She was
But
like,
didn't
"You
even
guys
get the
killed
guy,
my
though. That's
sister,
messed up.
so yep, all you guys are
That's
gonna
messed
die."
up. She didn't even get the main two guys, which is the business guy and then the conductor guy.
No, it wasn't the business. It was the COO of that.
Yeah, the COO and then
Yeah.
the conductor guy, which was the main perpetrators of like that whole thing, that scenario. And then they got hid in the bathroom while she killed everybody else that was just
Oh yeah,
tagging
they
along.
did hide in the bathroom.
yeah. Everybody else was kind of tagging along on their whatever they were saying, and they all died for it, which is a good
Yes.
message in itself. Don't
Yep.
follow blindly.
Yes.
A neat little thing to build upon that is this movie does sort of address obliquely like class differences and how people are expected to behave and what they're expected to do or how they're treated by others around them or how they
What-
treat others around them.
What classes?
Well, I don't know if you noticed or not, but like the business guys initially get treated like they're not very sympathetic. Like the father's like a bad dad. The CEO does not get a sympathetic treatment throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he's treated as like the villain, like the worst, like anybody
Yeah.
that'll do anything to just get away, survive by yourself
Right, and
without
he
any
indirectly
without any
causes-
care,
That's,
without anything else.
Directly or
That's not
indirectly
a class.
causes.
That's how life is.
No, but it's clearly a class because he's a part of the, say, upper class of society.
Mm.
then
And
you
which
have-
is funny.
Then you have characters like the sisters, which are maybe possibly lower middle class.
Like
They're
middle
always-
class, I would
yeah.
say, yeah.
And then the other guy, which I didn't quite catch his name because I couldn't read the subtitles fast enough, but the burly guy with the pregnant wife, and he's clearly a lower class character. They don't spell it out for you, but they make it clear by hints, just the way he acts. The
Really?
way- yeah. The way you notice the way he's dressed is different from the other upper class guys. Notice
I
the
thought he was
guys
just more of like a tougher dude.
tougher dude, yeah, because he's lower class. He's obviously used to physical labor. He's got a slightly cruder sense of humor than they do.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
definitely more more
He's a little more upfront, a little
blunt
more in your face.
about his
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, he's a blunt.
And
one.
It was
like,
funny.
And
I
little
like
clues
that
like
guy.
this, when they're like talking about his phone, that like use the phone to distract the zombies, which is actually pretty damn clever.
And he was like,
He's like-
yeah, hey, talk shit about his dad. He's like, oh yeah, your dad's a leech or whatever.
Yeah.
He's
I
like-
know. I'm
like,
like,
he's, like, just talking
dude,
shit
you're
about
talking
him.
trash to like a little girl. Like, dude,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
dude.
And
But-
that's because of the class.
That's not
system. Yeah, I
gnarly,
can see that.
dude.
And there's like one of my little notes in there, and the phone is like, "Let me borrow your phone." He gives it to him, and he's like, "Why is your ringtone so tacky?" And he's like, "What do you mean my ringtone's tacky?" Then, well, how do you change it? Which kind of indicates he's not familiar with like newer, high-end technology.
Technological side of
Right.
things.
Right. So
I just thought if he was more like a blue collar type of person,
Right,
where he
exactly.
didn't worry about that type of thing.
exactly.
not that he's new to it, but that he just
But
didn't
he
worry
doesn't know how
about
to
it.
work it because he asked, like, how do you change it? It's like the question, the way
Yeah,
he
that's
delivers
true.
it.
Yeah,
He's like, he wouldn't even know because,
yeah,
you know,
that's kind of true. Yeah.
That's racist. That's racist.
classist, if anything.
They invented technology. So yeah,
It's put there for a reason.
yes,
Symbolism,
symbologyism.
But so you got
symbology.
Go ahead, yeah.
No, I don't know. I was just gonna blabber on about something being
I don't
racist.
like how I love, shout out to the Korean films coming out lately.
Dude, Parasite.
I'm taking a lot more notice, but
Oh.
the way they don't put subtitles for the text on their phone, which is like a standard like
Mhm.
anime type trope, but they don't really do it in this movie, and I was like, damn, I really wish I could read
I
what
think
they're saying to
I
each
think
other.
you got most of the gist of the.
Well, I
of
mean, they
the
say like
scene.
they repeat the most important parts, like for the scene or
Yeah.
for like what's
Yeah,
happening,
yeah.
but you don't. there's a whole bunch of
Dude,
There's
text
probably
there that you're not
subtext
getting.
and a little bit
But-
of flavor
Yeah.
details.
By
and
the
stuff
way,
you're
I'm
missing.
going
Probably
to-
a bunch of world building of what's really like a lot more detail to what's going on.
Yeah.
In between contact between the people they're talking to, and yeah, another point what I wanted to make was the CEO guy,
COO.
COO guy, which is
Chief
he
Operating
was like
Officer.
he had the upper intel on where to go and where it was safe because he was more upper class and high. He knew he had the upper hand on knowing the right people. And
Dude,
where,
that
like,
guy I
where it
have to say was
actually
the
safe.
biggest scumbag. He killed so
Yeah, yeah.
many people just
Yeah.
to like.
Mm.
They
But,
came to
but at the
save
same
him,
time,
and he just throw them in front of the
at
zombies.
the same time, like he saved them inadvertently because he knew where to go. He was like, you got to go to Busan.
So you can't
He's
go
like,
to
everybody
Dijon.
else is dangerous. Go to Busan.
To Wuhan.
And it was kinda-
Wuhan.
It was kind of sad at the end
Wrong
too because
country,
he was
John.
like he was saying to go to Busan. He was saying to go there, but at the end, because he was turning into a zombie, like I didn't know if it was like if that was him reverting to a zombie, he was just asking for his mom because he was a zombie, or if he really was just trying to go to Busan because his mom was there, and like that's what anybody, and that's the same thing. Anybody, all these
I think
again, back to family is all these characters are just trying to care
Yeah,
for
there's a
themselves, while everybody at the same time is just trying to care for themselves, and then that's why everybody is just against each other because they're only in their own little bubble, their own sect. And he even says it to his daughter. He's like, "You only got to worry about yourself."
Right.
And his daughter is the complete opposite way. She's like always worried
She's
about.
like, hey, daddy.
Well, going back to that scene where he's like reciting his address and asking to his mom, and just showing like the stripped away his humanity. Even though he was an asshole, he still was a human, even if he was a human asshole. And
That's
he's kind
what
of
I
having
mean.
that stripped away from him in various ways. That's a zombification for you.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
that was his. But that was, if that is true, that was the whole basis of his action is to getting back to not only the number one safe place to go, which
Right.
is the safest place not only for him but for everybody on the train, and just that that's the most basic instinct he goes to is he wants to go
Go home.
make sure his mom is safe.
Did you say Basic Instinct? Sharon Stone?
Yeah.
Leg scene?
Fatal instinct.
Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I look-
fast forward to the beginning.
Fast forward. Yep.
To the beginning, middle, or end, because it's all the same. Because
Like we never left.
they freaking like that movie was
train.
extraordinarily long, and it
No,
was just,
I'm like 40 minutes in, and yeah, the zombies haven't even hit yet.
well, it's crazy because
There's a lot of buildup.
yeah, there's a lot of buildup, and then when it goes to the center plot, right? I guess the second act, it's they have a lot of zombie / chase scenes and sequences. I mean,
Right.
they individualize it.
Classic zombie movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of
action
subplots, man. I was
sequences.
like trying to keep up, like, okay, so and so is gonna be there, so and so.
They got to get to the next
You know what
car,
I
and
mean?
like
then you got the baseball
that's the whole
team,
part.
and so and so's
You
baseball
gotta
team
switch
sister.
trains. That's the whole part.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, rags.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, even halfway in this movie, and like you see the zombies on the outside, but you don't really. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's like half hour, I guess, but you see them on. It's like happening around the characters, like how the girl catches the ash, like out through the window, like as they're literally driving to the train station, and how like she sees the dude get eaten outside of her window, like as
Yeah.
the train's taking off.
Dude, all I know is okay. So here's a funny thing. What would you guys do if you were on that train to Wuhan?
Yo,
Mostly
I
what
would
they
have
did.
done. Yeah, the same thing that they did, except
Put
better.
the tape on.
Like
Tape up, man. That's actually pretty
Yeah.
damn clever.
You wouldn't jump off,
I would have
Well,
taken
no,
my whole
jump-
body up.
jump off.
dude.
There's
I would have
more
hopped
zombies
on the
out there.
top.
Maybe.
I would have done exactly what the bigger guy did with the pregnant wife.
Fight
Is
through it.
grab the shield and grab a stick and the riot gear.
Yeah.
That would protect you from bites and stuff. Like I mean,
Yeah.
enough.
Dude, the craziest part of the movie for me is when the military guys were already turned into zombies, thinking that the military
Yeah.
was there to protect them.
When they went down the escalator,
Yeah.
and the train stopped, and they're like, "Okay, everybody, get off. You're gonna be quarantined." And it's like you just fed them to the zombie like that. Like,
Mhm.
They lost like half the whole train, really, of all the people.
And what was up with the bum dude who kept following them? That bum.
He was
again,
surviving, man.
like I said, another thing with the class, you could tell he was like a lower class guy. He was, like you said, he was a bum,
Dude, that dirty
Yeah.
bum.
but he survived mostly to almost the end as well. I mean, like there weren't very few
And-
survivors in this movie, but yeah,
And
But again-
it shows that he's willing to like sacrifice himself to save other people.
Or he's willing to
'cause
help
he knows
out,
what's
too.
right and wrong, and
or
then either you're an upper CEO guy that's like can do the same thing. Like this guy turns a new leaf throughout the whole movie, which is his character progression is like realizing that he's like, oh, I'm kind of a scumbag, and like my daughter's telling me, and everybody's telling me, and all this stuff. That's
Yeah.
why my wife left me, and all that other shit, and like you only care about yourself, which is prominent throughout the movie, throughout his character. And he's
Right.
like becoming the CEO guy that he's fighting at the end or whatever,
Yeah.
But
yeah, and he did his decision
But yeah,
not
and
to
the
be
bum is willing to sacrifice himself to he knows it's right to save the people. He can do what he can because he can, and just,
there. Right,
to
trying to help out.
That's racist.
sure,
So
that's homelessness.
So hold on. So okay. So you said there's a second part to this Johnny Skywalker. There's going to be another.
There's
movie?
a sequel coming out called Peninsula.
That's racist.
Makes sense. Korea
Wait,
is a
is it
peninsula.
coming
Why is
out?
everything
this,
racist?
Is it coming out this year?
Racist is the new black.
You got about 2 or 3 more of those in the podcast. You can't say that word anymore.
No, that's
That-
racist
that
against
line's running-
me, John
that-
Daniels.
Your argument's running thin.
Racism overruled.
That's because I'm from Cali, Colombia. Is that why Johnny
Yeah.
Skywalker
Yeah.
For some
discriminate
reason-
against me?
Yeah, for some reason,
I
all
said
these Hispanics are
peninsula.
really
You
racist.
said
I don't know
racist.
why.
So I mean, that
It
makes no
sounds
sense.
something like that. I'm a millennial, so if it sounds,
You know what a peninsula is?
if it even sounds slightly or rhymes with an offensive item in my head, guess what? I'm offended.
Oh, so you're a snowflake triggered asshole?
Yes, exactly. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
Not a snowflake, because I don't really know the context of that word used nowadays. So I don't know.
Javier's on the
I don't
hang
know
up.
what it
On the
means.
hang up, Javier hung up.
Yeah, I've exited this conversation.
Okay. All right, back to the flick. Okay, so we have a sequel coming out this year, and you said it may or may not contain some of the original cast.
So the offensive word peninsula is the name of the movie, and then the dad is supposed to be in it, which was what I was worried about. I don't want to talk about it because it seems like
Well,
that's probably most likely a background because he's already dead. And
so
like,
it could be a.
they find his dead body.
it's
and,
likely a
and they
prequel
cure him,
then.
bring him back to life, and he comes to save everybody.
It's like
But
a
like
prequel.
No, they already have a
kinda-
prequel.
I already stopped reading because I'd rather just
Oh,
watch
really?
the
Oh,
movie.
okay. Okay, gotcha.
And
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure it's like a flashback sequence, and it takes place 4 years after.
It's like
and
a
that's enough I need to
2-year
know.
flashback sequence.
A
Or
4
2
year,
hour,
I mean,
2 hour.
4 years after that this movie takes place,
Movies
and then
love
and
putting,
it's like about a military unit surviving through the apocalypse, pretty much, and then that's the premise of the movie.
movies love using old characters through flashbacks. If you remember Future World, the sequel to Westworld, they managed
It's
to
the
work.
easiest way to connect it to the earlier one without adding them in the movie.
They just managed to work Yul Brenner in there through flashback, even though he died
That's why
in the original. Spoilers for a 40-year-old movie.
40-year-old movie. Which movie is that?
Westworld.
We spoiled so many other
Wait,
things.
Westworld. I thought that was a flick on HBO.
It was an HBO series, but before it was an HBO series, it was a movie written by Michael Crichton.
Oh, Jurassic Park author.
The very same.
Yeah,
I.
and also James Cameron took that to use as the basis for like Terminator, pretty much.
What?
Did he? Part of
If
it.
you
Hold
watch-
on.
If you watch
If you
Westworld,
watch-
This is no
yeah.
longer
Watch
racism. This is
Westworld, it's like the
blasphemy.
same
You're
thing
saying
as
that.
Terminator
Wait a
with
second.
the red eye,
Order.
the robot
Order in the court.
skeleton and all this stuff.
I need Javier's take on that observation.
Okay, not base his premise of, but
I mean, there are some similarities.
Slightly influenced by it.
There's
okay?
similarities, influences, but to be honest,
Slightly influenced.
Harlan
by it. Okay, are you
Ellison
happy?
is the one who got away
yes,
with
yes,
suing
yes,
him.
yes.
So.
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
I'm
no longer offended.
Flowers happy.
Hey, okay, so
Is the snowflake melted?
speaking, just a quick sidebar on Terminator. I believe Terminator was going to be played by Lance Hendrickson.
Really?
One of the originals, was it? Yeah.
I might buy that. For
He's
$1.
in Terminator, the first one, but he's as a cop.
Correct.
And I believe Cameron was considering him to be the Terminator. I have to double
I
check
don't know
that.
about that.
I'll double check. I'll reference it
could have
later on
been?
the next one.
I don't know. It's hard to imagine though, since Robert Patrick knocked it out of the park. I mean,
No, I'm talking about the first one.
the first one.
Lance Hendrickson was in the first one.
He couldn't be Terminator in the second one. He's already in the first one.
But the Terminator's whole thing is copying people, so that would make perfect sense.
Oh, a person from there? No, that's AI representation of a person. That's not a.
I'm talking about the first.
I guess
I'm talking about the first.
It probably is based off of a person, but I'm saying like a person from 20 years after the apocalypse, not before it happened.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which would be the cop character.
All right.
Anyway, that's what we're talking
Sidebar
about.
concluded. Okay,
Yeah.
back to this one. I was watching many moons ago World War Z. Now,
Ugh.
how would you guys? Were some of the scenes relatable? Like
Yeah, it
similar?
reminded me. It actually reminded me of that with the crowds of zombies and the CG piling on top of each other.
That's what I thought, Johnny Walker. That's exactly what I thought when I was watching.
Not that that's never been done before, and that's obviously what would happen. But they use it in full effect in this movie.
That's
especially
what I was thinking.
Yeah, especially during the end of the movie, like when you're when he's like kicking him off the train, and there's like a whole like a hive of them like attached on like just like five people.
So, yeah. Like World War Z,
and
when
I
they're
was
climbing
like,
up the wall in Jerusalem, I guess.
And they're all climbing up each other, like trying to get to him.
But
and I was like, yeah, that was very reminiscent of that, or reminded me of that, yeah. And like, but yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. Like, that's what would happen if these zombies acted the way they were. Sorry, another side note is like when they go black, when the train goes black. And
when they can no longer see or whatever.
Yeah, it's like I kind of broke it down. It's like they're only triggered by sight and sound.
Yeah,
and not smell or hunger, which is kind of weird. And I think they try to make a point to that to make it like a new kind of zombie type,
right?
Like what you don't normally see.
It's actually cool. It's a cool little. It's different. It's different. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
that's like it's interesting to have new takes when you can interpret like new insert new takes into already established like zombie lore. Like what does make this movie different from other zombies movies is like they try to specifically. And it's like a whole scene with them on the train, like escaping.
Right, and it turns into a plot point.
Two cars.
And then I think this movie gets points for actually messing around with zombie lore so much that these zombies are actually less scary in the dark.
Yeah, and I love this. And then to go back to Resident Evil, it reminds me of the first Resident Evil game where everything takes place in broad daylight and everything all
comes back to Resident Evil.
Yeah, and just how clear to see the blood and gore is, and like it's easy to make things scary in the dark, but it's a lot harder to make them scary in the daylight. And a lot of this movie takes place in the daylight, and like Javier said, they make it a point to make them less scary in the dark, which makes it easier to like maneuver around them, which is a whole different kind of take on the zombie because you would assume they would be more dangerous in the dark. And I thought that was kind of like weird and kind of like cheesy, kind of like a weird cop out of making the situation work on a train where they could get through zombies
tunnels,
where they're not, which is kind of weird because they're only what are they striving for? It's not blood and it's not whatever. It's like some other like weird zombie instinct where it's just based on sight and sound and not hunger and smell.
Well, this speaks to me
and taste, which is all
the
same. Which all what is usually based off of.
Well, this speaks to me of the movies. What you said about their like going out sight and sound is like this speaks to me of the movies' other major influence. There are two things this movie is influenced by, and I enjoyed. The homages back to both Night of the Living Dead and to 28 Days Later, and we're starting with the 28 Days Later part.
Yeah,
I really enjoy the fact these are biologically engineered zombies.
Has Columbia Man seen 28 Days Later?
Yes, I did watch it in Cali, Columbia when it came out in 2001.
Yeah, something like that.
Like 19 years ago.
Also, do yourself a favor and don't bother buying the Blu-ray of 28 Days Later. DVD's fine.
Buy the Blu-ray.
Don't buy it. You can't watch it in Blu-ray resolution.
Buy the Blu-ray. BlueRayDismay. 28 Days Later, please.
Buy it on VHS.
It's a joke, John. It was filmed.
No, that was
SD.
Johnny Skywalker, not John Daniels.
John Daniels. It was filmed. John Daniels, John Skywalker, all the Johns. John Jones, listen to me.
Yes, John Jones. John Bones.
Call me Zombie Walker.
Zombie Walker. It was filmed in SD because that was the equipment they had available at the time on their budget.
And also makes it's easier to cover up the effects and makes the zombies more effective.
Right. But if you notice in 28 Days Later,
Adds to the fear factor.
the zombies in 28 Days Later have two things in common with the zombies in Train to Busan. One is they're created by a biological accident, and two, they're fast. So I was gratified to see fast zombies again because that's always fun.
Yeah, they're just
They're the
regular
worst.
people,
I hate
but they're
fast
alive
zombies.
again. Yeah.
But
And
they're
also another
winning.
thing, I wanted to ask you guys. So he mentions it that his assistant Kim, he says it. He's like, "Was this us? Was it? Or was this?" And then the opening scene when the guy drives through, he's like, "Oh, you guys had another accident. It's another quarantine zone and all that other
Right.
stuff." And then he's like, and then that's when the deer comes alive. It's actually something got out, and it's like something that his investors had major involvement
Had a
in.
hand in, yeah. Part of their
Yeah, which
strategy, as he was talking about.
Yeah, which was like, which is fuck everything else. We got to deal with this like
Right.
zombie
That's like, but it's
biological warfare, going on.
Standard umbrella stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Corporations taking too much into, having too much money.
Corporations taking too many
Too
risks,
much.
not doing due diligence or is following established safety protocols.
There can never be having too much money unless you have like slaves or something. Then that's too
Unless
much.
you fund zombie research,
Yeah.
that's too much.
No.
Yeah.
Don't make zombies.
No.
Number one rule of zombie movies is don't make zombies.
Don't make them.
Well, that's the thing I enjoy about it. They don't really moralize about it too much. They give you a couple of lines there to think about it, but they're not going to be like, for example, say in the Resident Evil series, just because Umbrella Corporation's evil. It's more like this is just a thing that happened.
Where's
because
Wesker?
They're busy.
It was a product of having too much money.
No, it's a product of just sloppy biological research. So,
Yeah,
this
and then
man's carelessness
the thing that
more than
allowed
any
them
evil.
to do that was investing in the businesses that allowed them to have that much money to invest in that type of research.
The market increases liquidity, John. That's the gospel.
Johnny Skywalker. Zombie Skywalker.
Zombie
Zombie
Walker.
Skywalker.
The market increases liquidity.
No, Zombie Walker.
Yes, Johnny Skywalker. Come on, man. Come on.
I agree. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
But the point, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm trying to think here.
Shout out to the baseball team that was on the train that had bats ready to go for everybody, for only a couple characters to take as weapons, surprisingly.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the baseball team was clutch when it came to finding some type of weapon.
Oh, and then that's the same kid from Parasite, I believe.
From what?
Is it?
From what movie?
You better verify that. I didn't bother to do my own due diligence, so I can't speak to that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what movie was that? Johnny Skywalker.
Zombie
No,
Walker.
Parasite.
Oh, the little girl was the same girl from Parasite?
No, the baseball player.
You better be sure, because you will offend a lot of...
Yes, it's the same guy. It's the same dude.
Do you want to get us canceled?
Yeah, I won't say the R word anymore. Now I'm going to say you stereotypist.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, it's the same person.
I'll take your word for it.
So I don't know what else you want me to do.
All right.
Your due diligence.
I will fact check you, and so will the next 3 people listening.
Yeah. All one of our audience.
Yes.
I mean, sure, if you want to fact check me, go ahead, but I wouldn't claim such a thing if I wasn't sure about it.
Maybe. I don't know. I've made some pretty outrageous claims.
You said someone was
true.
dead. You said Tiny was dead, remember?
That was me, yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
I need to be fact checked.
That was a one bad one. That was it. That's the one.
Who said you were dead?
Oh, and then you said Jordana Brewster was in like Chainsaw Massacre. I was like, what?
Oh, that was way off. Yeah.
So I've made several mistakes.
I don't know what you were thinking.
I think
my long and checkered life.
It was Jessica Biel, I think the one that we were talking about or referencing. I'll triple check if Jordana was in any of them, but
No. We're not going back to old things. Let's talk about this movie.
Yeah, why are you bringing up bullshit?
Oh, whoops, sorry. Okay, guys. All right. I don't know.
If I can go back to talking about the influences here,
So shout out to the baseball player. That's the same kid from Parasite that actually, made it through the end of the movie. And it sucks that, again, the COO was the guy that took him out just because he's a shitty person.
Dude, that COO was a ruthless scumbag. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
dude.
What I wanted to say was, like, when they didn't let the other crew back in to the sidecar because they're like, oh, we made it. We rescued passengers. We're trying to get through. And then the CEO guy is like, and he works with the train conductor guy or the train
the
stewardess
conductor.
guy, the guy in the blue shirt, in the blue vest or blazer, but he's like working with them. And he's like, no, he's like, these guys, they're probably infected. How do you expect them to travel through so many cars without being infected? And that's how he convinces everybody to tell them that they should be kicked out or whatever.
To be fair, given the situation at the time, that is a fairly reasonable assessment. Just the way it's
Yeah,
handled is bad.
No, completely. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is a fairly reasonable assessment of the situation. I mean,
Yeah, man.
he could have been doing something like, show me you got any bite marks. Let's see your hands. You got any, you're bleeding. What's happening? But then...
Yeah, at the same time, you would be Ripley, and aliens at that point. You'd be like, no, you can't let him on board.
Alien. She denies him on the first one.
Alien.
But of all the boneheaded and selfish decisions he's made, that was the least of them.
That's true, yeah.
So, I mean, he's done a lot worse things. It's like when he literally throws a guy like pretty much under the bus. He's just like, here, the coast is clear. Let me throw you out into the zombies while I run away.
Mm-hmm.
And then fail to lock the door behind me because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, that's another thing I want to point out. Like, why are they not locking all the doors behind them with the red lever? Like he clearly pulls the red thing, which I assume is the lock, emergency lock or emergencies, some kind of release.
Well, remember they said they're too dumb to open up the door. They would usually bash through the windows.
I know for the zombies, but I'm saying if there's zombies coming through, you would lock it, like no matter what. Like
just close it.
And another point, like when they when the COO guy is like, no, you guys are zombies, we can't let them stay here. They put him in the train ahead of them that are further away from the zombies than they are, which I thought was pretty backwards and like too convenient for the story. But I was like, all right, you're taking a little lead.
They were taking a little leeway, but they also had smashed the door between the further train, so they couldn't really put him in the vestibule because that'd be an instant death sentence. So they had to put him in the vestibule ahead.
What do you mean?
Because they were coming back, they had smashed the doors coming back from the back of the train to the front of the train.
But they were only going forward.
Right. All right. So let's just watch this
I thought
again.
they were going back in time.
Got to get back in.
Back to the Future Part 2.
No, because the zombie horde is coming from the back of the train.
Right.
They went.
That's what she said.
They had to go through the zombie horde to get to the front of the train.
That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying. So they left the people that kicked them out.
Right.
Are like, yo, you got to go to the train ahead of us. And
the vestibule, not the train ahead of us. The vestibule.
It was the vestibule. That's what the conductor said.
What is that?
The vestibule, the little two-door gap thing between
the next car.
Right. Well, they couldn't go to the one in the back of the train because that had been smashed. Remember, they smashed it open getting in there.
Yeah,
Hulk smash.
But I'm saying my point is they put the people that they were kicking out closer to the conductor, and they left themselves closer to the zombies.
It
But
may
the
have been
doors
a
are closed.
space issue.
Space issue, logistics closed, and also highlights the stupidity of their kind of actions because they're going along with the herd mentality.
No, I mean, in any zombie scenario, you wouldn't leave yourself in the front door of the zombies. If you're kicking a person out, you leave them closer to the zombies and yourself closer to the conductor where it's safe.
They couldn't do that because the vestibule door on the back had been smashed.
No, but then where did the businessman and his daughter and the pregnant lady and everybody they kicked out go? They went ahead of them, closer to the conductor. They didn't go behind them.
But in that vestibule, like you said, they already established they couldn't use the doors. If they were infected, they wouldn't be able to open the doors.
All right, I guess there probably was too many of them to fit in that little area space,
Yeah.
and then that's why they didn't. I don't know what else to say.
The point being, I think you're illustrating the point actually very well, is that it was kind of an irrational move on their part based on fear stoked by the COO.
That's ridiculous to me because the CEO
That's
is like,
fear
I want to
does.
get away from zombies.
Irrational fear does that to
the
you.
people that I'm trying to kick out ahead of me, closer to safety, opposed to myself, I'm trying to save. So that's like the opposite.
They isolated them. That's all they wanted to isolate them because they were afraid of them.
Yeah, and I would put myself away from the zombies and them closer to them.
That was the only
because
place
they're already
on the
infected.
train at that point they could isolate them.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
anyway, keep going.
All right.
All right, the end. See you guys. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Yes.
bye.
Now departing.
Another poignant scene was in he
35
couldn't
minutes
kill
in.
He couldn't kill his baseball friends, and I was like, come on, man. They're zombies. You got to kill your baseball friends.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a tough call. That'd be
Yep.
a tough call.
He didn't really do anything the whole scene. That just kind of messed
He
up.
cried a little bit.
He did things in other scenes. I mean, he actually proved his worth in other ways. Trying to kill your former teammates is a big ask.
It is, especially
Yeah.
if they're dear close friends. You know, it's.
I thought they
Right.
were gonna use the baseballs to throw under the zombies to make them fall, but they didn't.
No, but they did distract him pretty well with them.
Hey, but here's the funny thing though. Those guys were all teasing him in the very beginning. All his
Right.
buddies.
Yeah, because they wouldn't get with the girl that's after him.
Right. That's like,
They're
just
literally
like friendly
"Get with
teasing.
her,
That's
get
what
with
guys
her,"
on teams do.
or something.
It's pretty funny.
It's
It
just
was
that they
hilarious,
kind of
yeah.
highlight
Like,
that.
hey, you wuss, girl pair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, "Come on, man, get with the hot." They're like, "The hot girl's coming in," and then she
Dude,
goes.
that was like the
him,
hottest.
and he's like, "Whatever," and
That
it's
was
like,
the
"Yeah, whatever."
hottest
man.
Asian girl I've seen this day.
That was the hottest Asian girl you'll see in any Asian movie.
Hey,
Aye.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, yeah.
I
But
like-
going back to that, the camaraderie thing is like they're teasing him and making fun of him. But it's like that's what guys do to be friends in this
They're a
movie,
team,
even
yeah,
in this
yeah.
movie. Like
Yeah.
at the beginning, where like the burly guy's willing to punch the fund manager. He's like, "Why'd you close the door on me, asshole?" And he's like, "Asshole." And then later on, he's like, "Hey, you're an asshole." And then by the end, he's like, "Hey, asshole."
yeah, it gets,
yeah,
gets friendlier and friendlier.
It's like
it's
his like
pretty
buddy name.
comedic. Yeah, there's a sense of
It's like
comic
his buddy
relief
nickname.
between
Yeah.
their tension. It's
So
cool. It's cool.
That's what dudes do, is bust each other's chops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
dudes.
Yeah.
Toxic
That's how they
masculinity.
connect in a way. You know?
Rawr.
It's just how they,
Hear me
it's how they
roar.
bro out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going to that, but yeah, going back, I want to go back to the reference to the first of all, homage to 28 Days Later. They got
Homage.
the homage, you know, homage,
Homage.
homage,
Homo age.
Yes.
no homo age. But yeah, like the 28 Days Later thing is they're a real tangible threat, because like in a lot of other zombie movies, they can be kind of just shuffling around, and this they got them. They're active and they're after you, chasing you, and very very dangerous and vicious, in a certain way. Mindless rage. So they remind me of the rage zombies, which I thought was fun, even though I hate the running zombies because those are always the scariest.
Which ones?
The rage zombies from 28 Days Later,
Oh, 28 days. Okay.
Heads.
Yeah. But then the other thing that was really struck me is that it went all the way back to Night of the Living Dead, which we reviewed previously. And if you recall the end of Night of the Living Dead,
That's what I thought it was gonna happen, dude. That's why I was like, "Oh damn!"
you're waiting for that, right? You're waiting for that moment. And we're just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
they're zombies, kill
Like,
them."
this is a complete reference, and I was like,
Right.
and I was like, all right.
Yep. And then she saves him by reciting for her father the song that she
That
was
she
supposed to
forgot.
that she forgot
Beautiful,
in school.
beautiful moment.
Yeah. Tears are
The
streaming
love,
down my
th-
face
that's,
like
that's
a river.
love. That's that's
Yes.
love saving
At
life.
that point, I fell asleep. I cried. I cried.
Yeah.
I was like,
That yeah, exactly. What you would say? No, I was sleeping during that moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was just
I don't
my
know.
eye boogers from sleeping. That wasn't tears.
Dude, I
Yeah.
was sleeping.
Someone started chopping onions right when I was watching that moment in the movie.
yeah.
Um,
But that was love saving life. Is her love?
Yeah.
Of maybe seeing her dad there to sing the song, especially for him. And now that he's gone, the only thing left to do is sing for life,
Yeah.
and then she saved them. Yeah.
But
And,
the way they
too,
framed
is
it
that-
and the way they set it up, and it's like, do I kill them? I see some visitors. It was like a
Yeah.
very close parallel to that moment in Night of the Living Dead, and I'm glad they
Yeah.
threw that in there because they referenced pretty much two of my favorite zombie movies.
Yeah, and I
Um,
love it too because it was completely believable for both ends. Like,
Yeah,
are they like, okay, I could see them dying at the end because everybody's been dying in this movie, which I could see. And I was like, oh damn, they're going through the Night of the Living Dead like route, like type of zombie flick. Or they go through the other route where I didn't expect it for her to sing that song and save their lives at the same time, which is it's just that's great storytelling. Callbacks.
references,
Just referencing your own
homages.
yourself to save yourself.
homages.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're about 40 minutes in, guys. Did you guys want to go into the ratings, or you guys got more to argue about?
I will enjoy this one. It's like, again, going back to the Night of the Living Dead parallel. It's like society in the process of falling apart, because a lot of zombie movies will like take you and then like put you in an isolated area, and there's no government or military presence to speak of. This one and Night of the Living Dead, they have an actual response, and they're like the same thing. They're trying to contact via radio or TV, trying to contact the outside world. It shows you it's not happening in isolation, because that's like an easy route for a zombie movie to take. It's just, we're cut off, and then there's zombies, so then by yourself, and that's easy storytelling. But
Yeah, I love
Yeah, man.
I like the way
I
they
love
like
how
put it in the context of a larger thing happening around the country.
yeah, I love how it takes place on a train. Like that's a good setup for a zombie movie. Ever since Resident Evil Zero, everything goes back to Resident Evil, and then and yeah, that's a good setup for a train for a zombie movie. And they do it really well, and they portray it really well. And then again, like the setup for like the end, like kind of and there's a new one coming out, or they eventually do get to the safe point where they don't even really know if they're going to
Right.
a safe point or not. They're just like kind of just heading there, just because they can, and that's like the basic word of mouth that they hear is like there is everybody's like, and the conductors don't know what's going on, and like they're like trying to talk to themselves, and they're like, "We'll clear a path for you," but of course, and I was really surprised there was no debris on the train tracks because all the chaos has been going on until the end of the movie when they had to switch trains into a little teeny car.
Yeah.
And I was surprised it didn't happen earlier because like everything's going crazy. How do they not get blocked? And
Yeah.
then and it kind of reminded me of Snowpiercer, where it's like you can just keep going
Yeah.
away from the thing that's happening, and it's like that's a way of survival
Right.
potentially. But yeah,
But it's a funny thing. I've been on trains on 3 continents, and train yards look alike all over.
yeah, they
Dude,
do.
Twilight Zone. People are like all over.
Yeah,
We're savages. Except
yeah.
not like the
People's is
song.
people's.
I'm a savage.
Everybody's got to deal with it and get over it.
Yeah.
Until you see a zombie movie represent yourself in that type of situation and you can relate, then you'll be like, oh, okay. I would try to save myself from a zombie apocalypse because at that point, that's all anybody's trying to do.
Funny. Funny.
Alright.
Ratings, guys. Ratings. What would you guys rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 if you had to rate it?
Attention, I give this movie an 8.5.
Wow. Wowzers.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was well cinematographed. It was enjoyable, really compact and not compact, but very well told story. It's
Cinematographized.
cinematographed, the thing.
Yeah.
But the characters were engaging, and they had they managed to transcend being simple cliches, because that's the easy thing to do, is just make everyone a cliche. But each of these characters had their little individual quirks and their weird little idiosyncrasies that made them like more believable as people, even if they didn't get a whole lot of screen time. Mad props to the engineer who did the best he could for everybody, trying to save all their lives until the CEO screwed things up for him.
Yeah. He was doing a great job.
Yeah, in a very bad situation.
And the conductor, too. He was like, yo, please get off. If anybody's alive,
Yeah,
we're moving to the left head train,
Yeah.
train. We're moving. I'm going there now. And he hops out and he's just going.
Yeah.
He's just
But yeah,
like
so
literally,
back
he made the
back to
announcement and he's going. And then he gave it. And yeah, that was awesome.
back to my rating. Yeah, it's an 8.5 because it's a well-told story. It needs about as long as it needs to be. I mean, some people may thought it went on a little while, but I think everything in there needed to be in there for a point. Manages to tell a story without dropping too far into cliche, and it's like I said, well shot, well directed, well acted, and a few new little twists on zombie mythology, which is always welcome.
Yeah.
Homages
Yeah.
to my favorite parts, and a not so bleak ending. So yeah,
All right, 8.5 out of 10. Woo! JVR. Okay, Johnny Bruno Diaz Walker.
Oh
Ratings.
yeah, I give it a similar rating. I would say 8.5.
Damn.
I'd say like more like a 8, I guess.
8.25 because they're very precise.
8.25. Yeah. No, what? And just because, just everything to reflect off everything Javier said is like, just all those points and just the way they add new lore to zombies. It's a good way and a good budget way to express your story. And they did a great job of just telling a zombie train story, and like and just the ending and all the homages to the Homo ages to all the
All the Homo
old
ages.
all the old zombie flicks and everything like that, and
Yeah.
just a shout out to the lower class guy who picked up the riot gear and the shield and baton
Yeah.
from the cop who was, remember, he was like chasing the train He slyly like picked up the gear as he's mid running to fight the zombies off to actually get on the train.
Yeah.
And he sacrifices himself to save his wife, and the asshole he called him the whole time. He's like, yeah, I know you're an asshole, but you're surviving, asshole, and I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's willing to work with him, despite that fact. And I think that speaks volumes for the age in our time. But anyway, and like and the fact that he like did everything he could to like, he almost felt like a sumo wrestler or something. He like picked up a zombie and like shoved it all into them,
Yeah.
and the zombies were like eating the other zombie on top of him before he turned into a zombie.
Mhm,
And I was like, oh damn, that shit was awesome.
Mhm.
And yeah, how they
speaks to
all
his blue collarness. He's probably like a laborer, you know.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And he's like, yo, just take care of my fucking wife, blah blah blah. And he tells him the kid's name at the end, is so dramatic.
What was the kid's name?
I forget. It was like hold on one sec. It was like
He says that's a name. Yeah.
yeah, it says Su Yu Han or something like that.
God bless you.
It's hold on, I'll tell you in one sec.
No, just keep on. Get to the point here. You got to
Yeah,
rate
hurry
it.
up.
Oh,
Put a number on it.
Okay.
8.5. Go on.
It's a Yoon Soo Hoon,
Yeah.
Soo Hoon or something like that. But yeah, just him as a character, and like the power of a drop kick, and like like he really had a boss fight with the COO at the end of the movie on the single train. It's like, okay,
Dude, he's fighting the boss.
yeah, it's you, the most evil character that we've portrayed throughout the whole movie.
Boss
Who's
level.
willing to like sacrifice anybody and anything, even the conductor of the train. He probably didn't even know how to stop the fucking train if he had to. And like, and then like he's like, yo, and the conductor helps him, tries to help him, And I was like, oh, that was a dumb move, and of course he paid for it. But like at the end, like, and shout out to one of our earlier podcasts or something like that, to Hard Target. You can never underestimate the power of a drop kick. And I really hate this movie because of that, because the lead character like can't take out this one guy on the train, and he has a handlebars like next to him.
Yeah,
so
he couldn't use
like,
a
prop his
handlebar.
hands up.
But dude,
and, run
he's
his
probably
legs
never been in a
across the
fight,
wall
dude. He's like a
and
twig.
drop kick this one zombie.
Yeah.
Like, if your life depended on it, I would drop kick anybody in a split second. And a shout out to one of our earlier podcasts, he had a Hard Target, where Van Damme literally drop kicks Bishop.
Dude, you would
from,
drop kick
Alien.
yourself off the train. Whee!
Yeah, and he literally does too at the end of the movie, and it's awesome. And I was like, yeah, that's what I would do too. And then like, it's a shame that he had to, and I understand that they're going for dramatic effect. The lead character has to sacrifice himself to save his daughter and a stranger who's obviously pregnant and everything like that, to save the new life that's going ahead, to get to safety. And did everything he could, and like, yeah, I really wish he would have just drop kicked that.
My
turn. Once.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Johnny Zombie.
Zombie Walker's rating. Not enough drop kicks.
Yes, drop kick
Yeah,
needed
drop
to
kick
get the
boss
9 out of
zombie,
10.
Man, come on.
Zombie. Okay. John Daniels here from Kelly, Columbia. Everybody, John Daniels. So if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, my inner chi tells me I would probably go in between 6.5 to 7. And let me tell you why. I thought it was a very cool movie. I thought the whole theme with the zombies were cool, where Johnny Skywalker, you referenced that they're triggered by sound and sight, not so much just gun hungry and just running all over the place, all over the, all night or day, whatever.
It's a completely, like, I think it's a different take on it. Yeah.
Right. I thought that was cool. Number 2, the other thing that I liked, they definitely had some well intertwined themes, the familial theme, the like you said, there was a class structure theme, JVR. So those were very solid, very spot on. And of course, just the overall theme of, hey, zombies are going to come eat your guts out. The things that kind of threw me off a little bit, the reason I'm going towards, I know you guys said 8.5, I'm going for the 6.5. It's just a little too long for me. And I was kicked in the nuts one too many times with the whole, hey, I love you, Dad. Hey, I love you, Mom. Hey, I love you. It was very family clicked theme with every subplot.
They laid it on pretty thick.
They laid it on pretty thick, and then especially the ending where the little girl, she saves her and the future womb child by singing the song that she forgot, but I guess she magically remembered it. I mean, so but it was just another layer of like, okay, we get it, family, you know, we understand.
Yeah.
da, da, da.
If there was just that part and less of the other stuff, it would've
Right,
been
that'd be cool.
more
Yeah.
powerful.
So
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I just got kicked in the nuts like at least 9 times, right? I'm like,
Yeah,
"Ugh." So
Kicked right in the feels.
another thing that kind of threw me off. Again, I'm not saying it was a bad flick. I thought it was a cool flick. I appreciate everything you guys said. The one thing that kind of got me though was the length of the movie. It was a little too long for my take. There were definitely a lot of chase scenes. They were well thought out. They were well executed. Maybe could have shaved down a little bit of them. Maybe. So just a little too long for my taste. But I definitely well organized. Very cool. Definitely worth checking out. But as far as my scale goes, I'm going to go towards closer to that 6.57. So that's just my take on it.
Would you recommend it to someone else?
Yes, I would. Yeah, you got to see it at least once. Just check it out at least once. It's a cool flick.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Shout out to if you have Prime or whatever. It's free on Prime right now, so
Oh, yeah.
definitely worth a check out.
You're plugging Prime.
Don't show for the multinational.
Yeah, they're already gazillionaires.
Okay, sorry. Don't get this movie free. on
No, I'm
Prime.
joking, I'm
Don't
joking.
rent it on any.
It's
I'm
available
joking.
on a streaming
Please
service
support
somewhere.
the
On a
directors,
streaming.
Please support the actors. Please support anybody who made this movie and make this happen. And yeah, you guys are right. I totally shouldn't.
I'm joking.
Don't get it for free.
I'm busting your chops.
It's worth $10. It's worth $10.
But it is
It's worth a
available.
$10 rent.
It is available legitimately on an online service. So check it out that way.
Yes. And it's not Pornhub.
Yeah.
So
Easier way of saying it. Yeah.
okay. All right, guys. I guess that wraps it up. Everyone tune in next week for something that we have yet to think of. Thanks so much. Take it easy.
Peninsula.